Dr. Evelyn from Petsadena Animal Hospital. Dr. Evelyn, thank you so much for having us. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Petsadena Animal Hospital?
Well, I'm Dr. Evelyn Sagastume. I have been practicing for the last 10 years, small animal medicine. I purchased the practice 5 years ago. This is a full-service small animal practice that's open 6 days a week to meet your pet's needs.
Awesome. So what we're here to talk about today is Easter. It is April, Easter's around the corner, and a lot of pet parents have been talking about the Easter lily and how it is toxic to our pets. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Easter lily, how toxic it is, how serious it is, and when it's time for our dogs or cats to see you?
Yes, absolutely. So during Easter time, it's pretty popular to purchase the Easter lily, or potentially you might receive it as a gift in a bouquet of flowers. It is actually more toxic to cats, and extremely toxic to cats, for that matter, compared to dogs. Even to the point where just biting and ingesting a tiny piece of the plant can actually be very poisonous to a cat. So for cats, what can occur is they can actually develop kidney failure that requires very aggressive treatment and can become irreversible if the signs aren't noted early. Wow. So it's extremely important, in particular for people who have indoor-only cats. If you receive flowers, you have flowers, and there's lilies in them, ideally I'd probably recommend that you put them in a place the cat can't access, or maybe even toss them, or give them away maybe.
So how soon after the cat ingests an Easter lily would you start to see symptoms that something's wrong?
So symptoms can start to show up within about 12 hours, which is a little hard because that's a kind of a long time frame. Some cats it'll be faster depending on how much they ingested. Some would take a little longer. Some of the signs that you may see if your cat has ingested lilies and starting to have signs of toxicity would be some drooling, decreased appetite, being lethargic, possibly maybe hiding more, not being as active as usual, vomiting. Those are all signs, unfortunately, that could present with other diseases, so it might not be as obvious to someone who doesn't know that they've been exposed.
So with those signs, especially around the Easter holiday, and if you've got an Easter lily around your cat, is it important just to go ahead and play it safe and bring the cat in?
I would say if there's any risk of exposure to lilies, say you find part of the plant missing and you're not sure if your cat ingested it, it's much better to be safe and take them into your veterinarian local emergency clinic if it's in the middle of the night or after hours, and make sure that they check, do a checkup on your cat, possibly check some kidney values, because they can develop kidney disease with anywhere from 12 to 24 hours, can be a little bit longer. So a lot of times we'll check some baseline kidney values, check them again about 12 hours later. If there's any signs of disease, they'll likely ask to hospitalize your cat and to make sure that they can get through this.
So what about dogs with the Easter lily? Is it as dangerous for dogs?
So for dogs, it's not as dangerous.
Okay.
However, with ingestion of any kind of plant, a lot of times there's a risk of gastrointestinal upset. So they can have similar signs, but not necessarily associated with kidney failure.
Okay. Is there any other plant popular around the Easter holidays that pet owners need to be aware of?
So I would say probably tulips might be another one,
just
because of the spring and what starts to bloom at that time.
Right.
So tulips can be toxic to both cats and dogs, not the same severity of toxicity as far as kidney failure. However, you might see drooling, vomiting, diarrhea, gastrointestinal signs, and actually if they ingest the bulb, they can develop some more serious signs like breathing difficulties and increased heart rate.
Okay, great, good to know. So, and just like with the ingestion of the Easter lily, is it safe to just go ahead and bring your pet in, your dog, whether or not it ingested it, or do you just kind of wait and see if the symptoms get more severe?
Ideally, if you know a pet ingested something poisonous, it's actually best to take your pet in, because sometimes we can induce vomiting, which can expel whatever they ingested and potentially limit the signs that you're going to see.
Great. So speaking of poisonous things, most pet owners are aware that chocolate is toxic to our pets. Easter is a super popular holiday for chocolate. We've got the chocolate Easter bunnies and chocolate eggs and all kinds of things around our home. What other Easter treats are going to be toxic to our pets?
So one thing I would think of, and probably what a lot of people overlook, is what's in the Easter basket that isn't and something that's supposed to be edible. So something like the little plastic eggs, those can be a risk factor if your dog ingests it, and potentially can cause irritation to the intestinal tract, possibly a blockage if it's a big enough volume, depending on the size of your pet, and gastrointestinal irritation to lead to bleeding in the intestinal tract, something like that. Another thing would be the Easter grass. So
Okay.
that's also kind of, especially for cats, they like kind of stringy, chewy things, and if they ingest that, whether it's cat or dog, cats being a little bit riskier because they're smaller pets, they can develop a blockage of their intestinal tract. It can get stuck as it's trying to get through their intestines and create, something that might be a surgical emergency.
Oh, wow.
So, in addition to causing gastrointestinal signs.
Wow. So if our cats or dogs get into Easter grass, or we see like a chewed up plastic egg, what are the next steps?
A lot of it depends on the degree of how much they eat. Now, if you
Okay.
have a Labrador that eats a little tiny Easter egg,
Right.
probably not going to have a big issue. You have
Okay.
a little Yorkie do that, that would probably be a problem. So
Okay.
definitely if they're showing symptoms, always a good idea to have them see the veterinarian to be assessed and determine if something else needs to be done.
Okay.
If it's a small little piece, if the dog's acting otherwise normal, you can monitor them, but again, always to be safe, maybe you can even contact your veterinary office, give them an idea of what happened, and they can give you information on whether or not they think it's a good idea to come in.
So with our pets, a lot of them are like our little children. Is it safe to share our human meals with our pets on Easter when we want them to be a part of the festivities? And if not, what are the foods that we really should avoid?
So for the most part, little bits and pieces here and there usually won't hurt an animal. That being said, a lot of the foods that we eat during these festivities tend to be very yummy, greasy, fatty foods,
Okay.
very rich foods, and that can definitely lead to upset tummies in our dogs and cats because their body's just not used to ingesting that kind of food. The other thing is that if there's enough of richness to it and enough inflammation that it causes an intestine, a lot of times the pancreas will also be affected, in which case they can develop a condition called pancreatitis, where there's inflammation of the pancreas, and that can make them very sick. So most of the time I do recommend limiting giving them anything from the table, in particular things that are potentially going to be very rich and greasy in fact.
Well, thank you so much for having us today. That was so informative and important for everyone to hear about this Easter.
Absolutely.
If you guys want to learn more about Dr. Evelyn and Petsadena Animal Hospital, you can visit petsadena.com. And if you want to learn more about My Dog Spot, you can visit us at walkmydogspot.com.